Hey, welcome back. Long time no see. Well, today we're here to talk about fitness trackers. It's kind of amazing how life kind of changes for you. You get older. Instead of talking about with your buddies the latest performance modification on your car, you talk about how high your blood pressure is and how you don't really sleep at night. Might have a touch of sleep apnea. That's what I'm trying to get into at this point, see if that's really the case or not. So I picked up some fitness trackers. I did try the Apple Watch 4. I guess for some early results, it's decent. The battery life just isn't there for what I want, so that went back. $400. I mainly just wanted a tracker. I didn't really need a smart watch. Nice watch, just not for me. So I picked up the Garmin Vivosmart 4 and the Fitbit Charge 2. Now, of course, there's a price difference between them. Fitbit Charge 2 is only like 75 bucks because it's discontinued. And then the Vivosmart 4 is like 130. Drew me to that was its size. The Ultra HR by Fitbit, I think is discontinued. You could probably still buy it from their website though, from what I saw. Like 150 bucks though. No thanks. Had some things I definitely needed right off the bat. Battery life, so 5 to 7 days is great. They're both kind of check that off. Heart rate tracking, accurate heart rate tracking. Sleep tracking. Comfort, of course, was on that list as well. And then steps was kind of last. If that was accurate, great. Can kind of share that with friends. Some other friends have some of these watches too. So there was that. Initial impressions of the two. Things I liked about the Fitbit. The main display, even though it didn't always turn on with the gestures and the tapping, the switch stuff wasn't that great. At least the home screen had the steps and the heart rate displayed on it, which the Garmin doesn't. You pretty much just could have like time and weather or whatever, and then you'd have to kind of scroll through to check your steps and heart rate. So that kind of sucked. It wasn't a deal breaker, but I'd give the edge to the Garmin definitely on comfort. So kind of a win on that and a loss on the other. Comfort is definitely important. You gotta wear it all day, and I barely noticed it was even there. And the gestures work better as well. Now the swiping through, if you did it just right, yeah, it worked pretty well, but it was a little finicky when you try to go through the settings. I found if I just tried to do it from the app itself, which I did like more than the Fitbit, it looked a little less, it looked more manually, let's put it that way. Fitbit, I kind of felt like I was looking at a yoga instructor app or something like that. But anyways, so the Garmin was more comfortable. Step-wise, for fun, I tried it out in a couple little small increments to see which one was closer, and I always kind of found the Fitbit to be a little bit more accurate. At the end of the day, even switching wrists, because I didn't wear them on the same one, I was at least 1,000 to 1,500 higher on the Garmin. So I felt like that wasn't as accurate, so that's a loss for the Garmin as well. Heart rate monitoring, I didn't really have. I have a blood pressure monitor I got recently, just something cheap, like 30 bucks, 35 bucks. And I found when trying to checking both at the same time that the Fitbit was always a little bit closer, even though it was slower to make adjustments. Now, I feel like that's probably so you don't have a bunch of spikes on the chart that are for very minimum changes. But on average, the Garmin showed about 10 beats per minute higher, sometimes more than that. So the Fitbit got another win there. So we got steps, accuracy on heart rate. I like the app a little bit more on the Garmin and the comfort. So we're kind of half and half there. Now the sleep tracking is where probably the biggest between the two. The Garmin pretty much said I slept all night. And I know that is definitely not the case. It did show some in a different chart. I believe it had it like how restless you are a little bit, but it didn't factor that into your sleeping for some reason. It's just separate. Whereas the Fitbit did. Now, that said, in an 8-hour period, roughly, that I was sleeping about 3.5. That seemed a little extreme. I felt like I probably did sleep more than that, but at least it didn't say I slept all night. Now, the Garmin has some extra stuff as far as body battery and stress level and everything like that. Kind of interesting. Never really compared it to see how accurate I really felt it was. I mean, they're there. It's kind of nice that they kind of threw another feature in there. And it also has an oxygen sensor for at night. Did see some dips on that, which could mean potential sleep apnea issues, but again, it didn't really register in the sleeping, so to speak. And The Charge 2 doesn't have that. The Charge 3 and their newer stuff does, but it's not active on the Fitbit. So they've made promises on their side that they haven't kept up with yet. So I did think about getting the Charge 3 or something similar. The Inspire is going to come out as well. I just don't know if it's really worth the cost difference since it doesn't even work yet. Will it ever work? So for me, in the end, despite really liking the Garmin as far as comfort goes, that's the one that's going back. I've already got it in the box. I wish they would have gotten their act together, because this would be the one I would keep if it was more accurate like the Fitbit. I do have more friends with Fitbit, but that wasn't really a determining factor. That's more of a bonus for sharing stuff on there that showed that I would know would be similar result-wise versus using a competitor and be like, well, yours might not be as accurate as theirs. So I guess for now, the Charge 2 is going to be the one I keep, despite it not being very comfortable to me, and it is fairly large. It doesn't really fit underneath my work uniform. Sometimes it does. The cuffs, I don't know. They're cheap uniforms from work, so some do, some don't. They tailor it a little differently, but the Garmin's going to be the one to go back. If you know of any others that are accurate that you've tried out, let me know. I might give it a try. I know there are definitely some other companies out there, but I don't want to keep buying this stuff and returning it. Feel kind of bad doing that, but you gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So if the product's not good, you gotta take it back. Anyways, later.